Hey everybody, we're going to learn today how to create a pop-up inside of our Webflow portfolio. So we're continuing our portfolio series here, and we're going to create a pop-ups that will give somebody a little bit more detail about your custom project. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back. If you haven't checked out my website already, go ahead and check out my website at learningdojo.ninja. Here you can check out all my previous blog posts, including my different portfolio blog posts as well. You can also check out blog posts on XAPI and Camtasia, Storyline, and more. And then you can check out templates, download Articulate Storyline templates, XAPI templates as well. And then you can get full courses if you're brand new to Articulate Storyline, or if you're brand new to Adobe Captivate, you can get full courses there. XAPI fundamentals as well, Articulate Rise, Custom Score, and HTML5 video. But today we're going to learn and continue building our portfolio page. Let's go ahead and go into Webflow if you haven't signed up for Webflow, or if you haven't even checked out the previous videos, go ahead and check out the previous videos here. And you can see how we actually got to this point and how we built our portfolio up to this point here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch my portfolio that we've been working on. And I want to create a pop-up because you're restricted with Webflow with a certain number of pages. You can only have 2 pages here. And if you can't afford Webflow, I mean, if you can afford Webflow, it's great. You can have as many pages as you want. You can have those different pages as extensive as you want as well. This is just kind of a workaround if you're working within that free version here. Or even if you're not working within the free version and you want to keep the person on the same page, you can do something like this pop-up and have some additional information. It's like a modal basically, where you click on something and maybe a video pops up, or click on something and some text and images pop up or something. So this is how you do that. So there's a couple different steps that we need to do. Now we're going to be working with different div tags. We're going to be working with different CSS styles as well. And I will explain what those are doing along the way here. So here is my portfolio. Just as a review, we have our big banner, we have our get to know me, we have our different projects down at the bottom that if you click on it, it could launch a project inside of another page, or you could actually launch to a project that's on a website somewhere. So that's what you can do if you want them to actually launch the project, or something like this would allow you to just have a little bit of a description about it if you can't show them the entire project. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create this pop-up. Now there's a couple different things that we need to do because we want to keep them on this page, but we want to make sure that the pop-up kind of fills the entire screen. Let's go ahead and create a div tag. So we're going to click on this plus button, and then we're going to create or add a div tag. Now I'm not going to add a div tag there. I'm going to actually add a div tag before everything else. And the way that you do that is through the navigator. So if I come in and click on this plus icon, and then I go into the div tag, if you drag and drop and then hover over the navigator, you can then put it right on the top, and that will take that bar up on that top and fill the entire screen there. Now we want this to be on top of everything else. So there's a couple different things that we need to do in order for that to happen. The first thing with this div block popped up is I want to give this a name. This is going to be pop-up. This could be pop-up 1, this could be pop-up 2. However many pop-ups you're going to have, you'll have to create or do this same thing with every single pop-up. So I named it pop-up 1, and now, oh, I didn't hit enter, so let's name this pop-up 1. Hit enter. And now I'm going to come down to my position, and I'm going to create this as a different type of position. We're actually going to have this as a fixed position, because then it's always at a certain point in your stage, your window here, and it's not going to move. So no matter where you're at inside as you're scrolling down, this pop-up is going to be directly in the middle. We're going to go ahead and switch this over to fixed here. And now notice that if I come over here, my pop-up is now on the top left-hand side, which is okay. That's where I want it to be for now. But I also want it to fill the entire screen. So I want it to be 100% width and 100% height. I don't know exactly what the width and height of the screen is going to be for somebody. So there's a way in CSS or inside of these properties here that you can do that will take up the viewport height. Now the viewport is basically the size of the browser. And so it's going to take up 100% of the viewport height or 100% of the viewport width. Yeah, I can go ahead and adjust that. The way that you do that is by coming over to the size here and selecting this drop-down box, and we're going to switch the width to be viewport width. That's the VW. This is going to take up 100. So you don't have to put in 100%, it's just going to take up 100% there. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the height. I'm going to take up VH, which will be viewport height, and it's going to take up 100 as well. I want this to fill the entire screen. I can't really see anything at this point because this has no color, it's transparent. So I could come down here and I can adjust the color. I'm going to adjust this to black for now, but I'm going to add some transparency so it just kind of fades out the background. This is not where my information is going to be. I'm going to create another div tag that's going to be white and that's going to contain some text and images. But for now, this is what I want. So I'm just going to have this kind of be the background here. A couple more things that I need to do. Notice that this image is actually on top of the faded. If I scroll down, it's on top of the faded area. I need to change the Z index of this to like 4. The Z index is like how it stacks up. And so now we need to make sure that the fade actually stacks in front of everything and everything else stacks below it. That's good enough for now. What I want to do now is create another div tag. And so this is where I can then bring it inside of my pop-up here. And this will be my text or my content. Let's just call it my content. I want to go ahead and adjust the size here. And the size is going to be, let's take up about, I don't know exactly what the percentage or what the viewport height is going to be. So let's just go ahead and just have this always take up about 60% of the width. Let's also have it take up about 500 pixels. You can see the outline right here. It's going to take up about that. Now I can play around with this. Thankfully in Webflow, I can adjust the size and different breakpoints as well. But for now, let's go ahead and just stick with that. And I'm going to change the background color to be like a white color. The other thing I'm going to do is up the border radius, and so it has kind of a nice rounded corner there. Now I want to center this directly in the middle. I don't want it to be up on the left. I want it to actually be positioned in whatever screen that you may be on directly in the middle there. The way that you do that is you change the position. Make sure that you have this object, this div block here, which I don't think it got the name of my content because I didn't hit enter. I'm going to go ahead and just type in content. And there we go. Now, with that content selected, I'm going to go ahead and change the position to be absolute. Absolute positions the element relative to the closest position parent. So the position parent in this case, because we placed it in our navigator here, inside of the pop-up, the position parent is fixed. And so it's going to be absolute relative to that parent. And so I can then directly kind of position it in the middle. Let's go ahead and with that selected, let's go down to our position here and we're going to add the margins up on top. We're going to add this to auto. We're going to add this to auto. We're also going to add this to auto. And then we're going to add this to auto as well. What that does is it kind of centers it in the middle. Now it does not center it vertically yet because there's a couple more things that we need to do here, but it will at least center it in the middle. It'll position auto on the left and auto on the right. And in fact, if I hover over it, you can tell by the blue shaded that it will actually be that auto left and auto right. So the other thing I need to do, and I thought I did this, but we need to make sure that this is absolute here. And I think when I started changing things like the number, it didn't position it right. I made a mistake there, but we're going to go ahead and fix it here. So make sure that this is absolute. And we're going to change this to 0. We're going to change this to 0. So you can just click enter number. We're going to change this to 0. And we're going to change this to 0. Relative to all of that, if this is basically 0, 0, 0 all the way around, it basically positions it right in the middle. Now from here, you basically build out your page how you want. I could come in and build some more content. Let's add some text like a heading. And this is going to be pop-up 1. But I want to have some padding so it's not right up against the edges. That's one of the things I tell my students all the time that bugs me is having text right up against the edges here. I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to add some padding. Let's go ahead and add just 20 here. We'll add 20 here as well, and that will just give us a little bit more padding. All right, I'm going to add some text as well. So let's go ahead and add some paragraph. I don't want to worry about the content for now, but you can add some images and so forth. But we need to have a close button as well. So I'm going to add a close button, and this is going to be the close pop-up. Close pop-up, or modal, whatever you want to call it. And now this is going to basically close it. At this point though, if I preview my page, I have a problem. So if I go up to preview, the pop-up is just there. I need that pop-up to be gone, and then I need to trigger the pop-up when somebody clicks on a button. So it takes us kind of into our next section. So you design the modal how you want, and the next section is getting it to hide and getting it to show and then hide again. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go ahead and let's go into our navigator and click on pop-up. In order to hide something inside of Webflow, you go over to the settings over on the right-hand side and you click on this hide. That will basically just make it so it's hidden, and that's the CSS value is display is hidden, and so it's not there by default. Now what we need to do is find at some point in our interaction or our website here, we need to find a button that's going to launch that pop-up. This could be either something like this, like the entire card, you can have this pop up, or you can have like a button have the pop up as well. It's up to you. But I'm going to just choose this button for now. And the interactions is where I need to go over on the right hand side, this little lightning bolt thing. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this lightning bolt and click on that. On a mouse click, something is going to happen. You have 2 clicks. This is a way to be able to do toggle, where if you want to toggle something off and on, you can have the first click do this, the second click do that. I'm going to select on the first click that I go ahead and we're going to start an animation. None of that like fade or jiggle, whatever's in there will work for us because we want to create our own little custom animation. Now, we're not really going to fade this in. You can fade this in if you wanted to. We're just going to have it hide and show just automatically here. So you can start the animation, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an animation, and this is going to be show pop-up 1. These are going to show for every single interaction. The name is going to show for every single interaction you do. So you want to make sure you name it clear so you know that this is going to affect pop-up 1 or it's going to hide pop-up 1 and so forth. I'm going to come into here and I'm going to click on, okay, what needs to happen? What I need to happen is have it hide and show something. What it's going to do, before I actually click on that plus button, it's important for me to select the object that's going to be hidden and it's going to be shown. Because right now it automatically thought that whatever button I had selected is the one that I want to hide and show. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to come over to my navigator here and I'm going to click on pop-up. Then I'm going to click on this plus icon and do hide show, and then you can see that affects the pop-up. It's better than having to come down here and trying to find the class down here. It's just better to select the navigator and then select the plus. I don't know why, but it's just better to do that. Now, when you're hiding and showing on this animation, you have to set an initial value first of all. So that initial state down at the bottom, this is going to be hidden by default because I don't want this to be visible as soon as they click on it and then have it hide and then show. I want it to be hidden as soon as they first click on it, and then I want it to show. It's just kind of the order. You just need to make sure that the initial state is going to be hidden, and then when they click on it, it's going to be shown. So I can have these actions kind of stacked here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this plus icon, and now we're going to show. So I still have pop-up 1 selected over on the left-hand side. From here, what we need to do is just change whatever values are going to be different. In this case, the only value that's going to be different is down at the bottom, this display. When they click on it, it's going to be shown. But how do I get rid of it? Well, that's where we need to create another interaction here. But let's go ahead and preview this first. I'm going to click on save. You can see that when this button is clicked on, it's going to show pop-up 1. So I'm going to click on this plus, click on learn more, and there's my pop-up 1. But at this point, I can't get rid of it. So I need to create a different interaction that hides that pop-up. So let's go back into here, and you can see that let's actually, for this, show the pop-up just for our testing purposes. So I'm going to display this, and then I'm going to click on this plus button over here. We're going to click and create a different interaction as well. So it's still going to be mouse click. And then we're going to select or start an animation, you can see where it says show pop-up one. We don't want to show it, we want to hide it. I'm going to click on plus, and then I'm going to be hide pop-up one, and then hit enter. Now you may have several different pop-ups, and so this is why I'm doing pop-up one, pop-up two, and so forth. From here, this one is a little bit more simple. All I have to do is do hide and show. Oh, forgot to select that item, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Go to my navigator, select pop-up one, and then click on plus, and then hide show. And what we're going to do on this one is just hide. That one, you just need one trigger. That first initial one, you need to have that initial state, but the other one, you don't need to have that initial state. So I'm going to click save, and you can see that this one, the hide pop-up, is the one that is selected here. And then I can go ahead and exit out of that. And so there's my mouse click. I can always go back in and edit this as needed. But I'm going to go back to pop-up one, and we're going to hide that again. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this eyeball. I'm going to click on learn more. There's our pop-up one. I'm going to click on close pop-up, and it's going to close it. That's how I can create pop-ups with additional content for my projects. Now I can grab that interaction, or I can create a pop-up for each of my projects. And so what I can do here for each of those projects is I can go into my interaction and I can show project 1 pop-up, project 2 pop-up, project 3 pop-up. Because this is a symbol, I don't have to do that for the specific button. All I have to do that for is the entire, if I click anywhere on that, including the button, then it will actually show the modal. What I do have to do is I do have to come in here, and if I'm linking like this external link, I may have to just make sure that it's blank or something like that. That way it doesn't try to link to a specific page or another website. We created this in the previous video just because we wanted to link to an example and we wanted to have some type of information. But now that we have the modal, we don't necessarily have to do that. We can go ahead and just pop up a modal with that information, and then maybe inside of the modal, it links somewhere else at that point. So they get some information and then links to the course or the example at that point. So hopefully this is helpful for you. If you want to learn anything else inside of Webflow here with your portfolio, let me know. I don't have anything else planned as far as the portfolio goes here. So if there's anything else specific like video pop-ups or anything else like that, go to my YouTube channel and go to this video and comment down below what else you want to see. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel as well. And that way you get notified of all future videos that come out. Also, check out my website, learningdojo.ninja. You can check out all previous blog posts, my templates, my different courses as well, Articulate Storyline 360, Adobe Captivate, XAPI Fundamentals, Articulate Rise, Custom Scorm, and HTML5 video. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.